Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: Overthinkers of Reddit. What unlikely scenario actually came true that you were completely prepared for because you are an overthinker? When my wife and I were getting married and looking for a place for ceremony, we have found this beautiful but quite remote garden. We were signing the contract for the event and I kept thinking that it was quite remote, so I asked, how much time does it take for the ambulance to get here? I became the laughing stock of both families. My, then future, mother-in-law, who was present at the meeting, literally fell down from the chair laughing. The wedding organizer remembered it for weeks, telling about it everyone we met. My dad ended every sentence with, "But maybe you need an ambulance for that." My wife was making siren noises when I was saying something we disagreed on. Every family dinner, all the aunts and uncles were checking if the ambulance was present. You name it. The entire package. Still, I couldn't get rid of this weird feeling. It would have taken over an hour for the ambulance to get to the garden. After a few weeks I ended up paying a private ambulance to be present at the wedding. Fast forward to the ceremony. As my wife literally walks down the aisle, at the back of the garden I see two paramedics running with a stretcher and my dad squeezing my hand whispering, "That's not of your goddamn business, let them to take care of it." What happened was that one of our older guests got a heart attack and almost died at ceremony. Was saved by the private ambulance. Ever since then, when my wife tells me that I'm overthinking, I just do the siren noise. Edit. Well, thanks for the awards everybody, glad you liked the story. I promise you that I was tired of winning after that. They never heard the end of it, but all the laughs were in good spirit. I apologized to the guy's kids for ruining their inheritance plans and he was saying that the service was so boring that he preferred to take his chances with the heart attack. So we had a few more laughs and trolling. Some of you are asking how much did the ambulance cost? I don't remember as it was many years ago and I may not be from your country. But does it matter? Can one really put a price on the "I told you so" you can use any time you want with your mother-in-law? That is such an orgasmic level of "told you so" that you can milk it for literally the rest of your married life. Not just his married life. Don't forget his family and in-laws. Wow. That's more than overthinking, that's next level psychic abilities of gut intuition. Holy cow, do I hope you pull out the "I told you so" every chance you get. I was once driving on the highway behind a car with a couple of kayaks strapped to the roof. My anxious brain kept saying, what if they fall off the car, Final Destination style. I tried to convince myself that it was an irrational fear, but the anxiety got the better of me and I decided to change lanes and make some distance. About 30 seconds later, cue kayaks, they both slip off the roof and go rolling around the highway. Luckily no one was hurt, but man, that did not help my anxiety at all. Edit to address some comments. 1. I figured I was overthinking since I don't know anyone else who gets nervous or avoids driving behind cars with loads, but I see now that maybe my behavior wasn't so weird. 2. Apparently a lot of you have seen falling kayaks on the highway. I don't think this is the same exact incident as any of the ones you guys have described. 3. From comments about how to properly tie down a kayak, I think these were not properly secured, I don't think they were tied to the bumpers. I definitely do the Final Destination worries thing too. Usually a big truck piled with giant logs or something. You wonder if some part of you unconsciously registered that the kayaks had been shifting some way. I've read that your body can pick up subtle signs of impending doom in various ways that can make you afraid even if you're not sure why. My roommate fits this one exactly. She passed a log truck in WA state and less than 30 seconds later they spilled out on I-5. She talks casually about it like it couldn't have killed her. Edit, hey today. I always carried an extra juice box / snacks and an extra set of clothes during high school because I was always worried that one of the kids in my school with diabetes might get low and need some sugar for the juice box and snacks, and I might get dirty or my clothes would get ruined. The extra clothes, well, one day the kid in my class with diabetes did need the sugar. As luck would have it, a few days later a girl in my class was having a really bad wardrobe malfunction and couldn't wait for a new shirt, so my XXL t-shirt acted as both a shirt / dress for her. Edit. This blew up while I was working. Thank you everyone for the upvotes. May the world ever be in your favor, all of you. Edit. Spelling / grammar. This is protagonist behavior, love it. No, super ironically that's a guy who just featured as a Deus Ex Machina in two other protagonists' story. In movies, when someone screams go grab X and then 15 seconds later some guys hands them X/U/Deus_X_jaw is that guy. I carry birdseed around with me to feed the ducks on campus because I worry about how much rice and naan the students are feeding them. One day I'm on my way onto campus and I see a lady with her toddler who's fascinated with a bird, but it keeps hopping away every time the baby toddles forward. So I stop and tell the mom that I have birdseed in my pocket if her kid wants to feed the bird. It wasn't until later that I realized that from her perspective she was in the park with her kid when a stranger approached her and announced, "I have birdseed in my pocket." I've been the birdseed guy and I've also been the parent receiving birdseed. Two necessary parts of a wonderful interaction that leaves a kid happily fascinated and birds happily fed. Good job on being birdseed guy. The panic attack that the overthinking caused. Edit, I feel like a fraud. I haven't had a panic attack in like 3 years, although I've had a handful of baby panic attacks since then. At one point, 1 month I must have had 30 plus panic attacks. I was constantly in a panic attack / depression cycle, and my brain worked so poorly that it felt like I lost a lot of my intelligence and almost all of my personality. But with therapy, lots of journaling, exercise and especially learning to gauge how likely something is to happen when I experience a fear, and not listening to unwarranted catastrophic thinking, I've recovered a lot and my anxiety levels are much more manageable. Thank you everyone for the awards, but I feel like all these people who still experience the panic attacks deserve them. That shit sucks, big time. I do this too. Especially at night. If I don't fall asleep now, I'll struggle tomorrow and then panic about not being able to fall asleep and therefore struggling the next day. Edit, I've never gotten awards on Reddit before and now I feel fancy. Felt. Based af. Injuring my dominant hand as a kid, I had an irrational fear of having it chopped off. I spent all of grade 6 teaching myself to write and do things with my left hand. I made a conscious effort to remain as ambidextrous as possible. As an adult I broke a few fingers on my dominant hand, but it wasn't a big issue because I could do most things equally with my left hand. Anticlimactic, but it was useful lol. Have the exact same fear and have been working on training my left hand occasionally. I'm also trying to learn to echolocate in case I go blind. Honey, the neighbors screaming and running into walls again. I carry some of just about everything in my purse. We were at a beach during off-season, and a kid wiped out. I had everything needed to clean and bandage him up. I carried that stuff, renewing when it got old, for almost 20 years before actually needing it. Thanks for the awards. I have a similar experience. I have just about everything you could possibly need to survive in the car if it breaks down or something else happens. I was driving and an old couple was crossing a driveway headed home after a nice lunch out. The lady biffed it on the curb. She had ripped quite a bit of her skin and was bleeding all over the place. I saw them, pulled my car over and was able to hop out, clean her up, and bandage everything up. It felt really good to be prepared and help the frantic old couple. Someone stopped and helped my parents after my mom tripped and faceplanted on a walk with my dad. She had bruises, a split lip, and broken glasses that cut her nose. Thank you, for stopping to help someone since I don't know who helped my parents. RPGIRL. Cannot relate, she used the consumable instead of saving it until the end of the game. What if she had later found a more badly wounded child on the way home? I'm a man and I've always kept a regular tampon in the glove box of my car. It's a small thing, but it's resolved an emergency on more than one occasion. Fellow fellas, it's something to consider adding to your car's first aid kit. You all have a car first aid kit, right? I've started keeping a box of pads, pack of socks, pack of underwear, and snacks in my trunk. I don't normally need them, but they're great for emergencies, rainy days, or encounters with homeless people. I really should add a first aid kit. In college on occasion upperclass me would randomly steal the underclass me towels from the shower stalls and then lock their room doors so they had to go to the RA fast. I had the idea to stash a towel in the drop ceiling tiles for just that event. Maybe a week later I became the victim of a towel snatching. However, the upperclass me were very unhappy to see me strut out with a nice clean towel from my ceiling stash. Something similar happened to me at my sorority house. But I just showered for a really long time till they got tired of waiting. I sang and sang and sang. They were my friends and they knew I didn't mind being naked. Okay, I'll just use up all the hot water then. So maybe not quite this, but my little sister. Through a long series of events, my parents, who were not foster parents and not looking to adopt, ended up taking care of an infant, who was not at all related to us, whose mother had just died. It was only supposed to be for a few weeks until she could be moved to a more permanent placement. As soon as I found out that my parents had agreed to help watch her temporarily, I knew where this was going, and I had all the initial adoption application paperwork printed out before she ever got to our house. Needless to say, my parents were pretty surprised the day they said they were thinking of adopting her, and I handed them a folder of forms and my handwritten notes on how the process worked. For the record, she has legally been my little sister for 7 years now. As a parent, I am sure your parents were touched not only by your preparation but by the way the gesture indicated total acceptance and support for your sister becoming your sister. I think they were a bit surprised that we all accepted her so quickly. I am one of them now 5 siblings. But we all love her, and honestly can't imagine how we could have ever let her go.